Alternative Facts Chicago.
Chicago's #1 podcast.
Chicago. The city of Chicago. Alternative Facts Chicago.
Chicago's #1 podcast.
Audio file
The city of Chicago.
This is episode 83 of Alternative Fact Chicago. Bihan back again.
with Kate.
It's been a busy week, but we're back. Got a lot to talk about. It's been a lot of crazy stuff going on in the news the last week, so we're ready to dive in. But first, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Been a crazy busy day, but hey, can't complain. Life's good, so we're going to roll with it. Got the Sweet 16 coming up this weekend, which I know you don't care about, but hey, I'm pretty hyped. Michigan's in it. Michigan State's still playing, so I got a lot to watch for.
Cool. Exciting for you.
And my brackets, I did like 4 different brackets. They're all still in contention. I can still win some money, so at least that's also I got a lot of positive things going on right now.
Well, good. I'm so happy for you.
I hope the same for you.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not a bracket, but there's a lot of positive things going on in my life overall, yes.
First, I will have to say, I can't forget, you picked Marquette to win the entire NCAA tournament. Not sure why you did it. And, of course, they didn't even lose first game. They got blew out the first game.
Oh, well.
Gone.
I don't even care.
I know. I was like, what
you made me pick someone, so I picked someone. You know, I don't watch college basketball. I don't care. You just talk about it. It's fine, but I don't care.
I feel that. Anyway, let's move on. We got a lot to talk about. Let's plug our social media.
Yeah, make sure you're following us. Lots of good dialogue on Facebook, Alternative Fact Chicago. Also on Instagram, same handle. And then on Twitter at @AFactChicago. Shout out to everybody who follows us, interacts with us, messages us, hits up our news, because we definitely have good dialogue going out on social. And then, of course, I'm on Twitter at Kate, Cait Hassett. And on Instagram, Kate No Jenner. So you can follow me there.
Yep, and you can follow me at Bhun1984. Once again, that's BHUN1984. You can email us show ideas, relationship ideas, and sponsorship ideas at alternativefactchicago@gmail.com. We got a brand new sponsor that will be premiering a little bit later this episode, which is dope. And then also you can find us on iTunes. Keep the reviews coming. I've seen a couple new ones recently. They're a bigger deal than people do. I know a lot of podcasts have 0 reviews, so forget that. We like to have the reviews positive or negative. We appreciate them all, so keep them coming. You can follow us, obviously, on Spotify at Alternative Facts Chicago. And we're also on Google Play, SoundCloud, Podbean at Alternative Facts Chicago. So I think that's everything. We got a lot to discuss. But first, before I do that, got to do our favorite segment, Fan of the Week, because we would not be here without you, the listeners. So this one goes to a college buddy of mine. His name's Mike D. He lives in North Carolina. He DJs out there. Listen to our podcast, not every single episode, but here and there. But I do love and appreciate all the fan engagement that he gives us on Facebook and social media. A lot of times he joins in our conversations. If we put a post up, he'll definitely comment and get a dialogue going. So we really appreciate that outside of this listener episode, that people do follow us and engage with us on social media. So always good topics, and he is a good dude to know. So I don't even know what his Instagram or Twitter is, but Mike D, if you ever see him on our Facebook, comment on our post, reach out and say what up. But thanks, and you are a fan of the week.
Yeah, shout out to Mike D. Thank you for listening, for always commenting on Facebook, talking some nonsense with us. We appreciate you.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of some nonsense, and we got to dive right into this. It's been all over social media the past couple of days. I haven't even talked to you about it. I kind of was waiting.
I try to stay off your social because you post about these things, and I don't want to jump in the conversation, because when we used to do that, then we'd have nothing to talk about.
I hear that. And if you ever notice, a lot of times I try to stay out of the conversation. I post them mainly just for podcast discussion, just to kind of get a feel of what people may think. And if you ever notice, I'll kind of avert my own answer, but I'll kind of answer their question with the question just to keep the dialogue going. It almost works every time. It's kind of funny. But with that being
like
said,
master manipulator via Facebook
no,
over here.
I
Y'all
try
all
to.
just fed into his ploy.
Oh,
He uses you for the podcast.
oh, absolutely not. But hey, it gets people talking, and it's always good topics. But this one has been a good one in regards to Cardi B. She said, and I think this was an old interview. They make it seem like it was recent, so I can't confirm or deny. But if you know when exactly this interview was actually posted, it was like a clip that, was recorded and got put out. Of course, this recently, since now she's very famous, saying that, during her stripper days, she basically would, take dudes back to hotel rooms, would essentially drug them and then rob them of money, belongings, whatever it may be. So here we are in 2019. We've seen this happen with, Bill Cosby drugging women. He's in prison now. R. Kelly doing crazy things with, younger people. So correlation can or cannot be there. Is there a double standard going on? She has taken some backlash and heat, but not as much as you might think. Is there a double standard? What's your thoughts on this situation?
Okay, well, first of all, I just would like to apologize on behalf of all women. I feel the same way about women who are supporting Cardi B right now as I feel about women who support Trump. And if we're going to just talk overall, I just think Cardi B is over for me personally. And that's saying a lot because I do love her and I do support her. And I think the hardest part for me is that I didn't want to like Cardi B at the beginning. I really did not want to like her. I was like, oh, who is this? Love and hip hop star? Like ex-stripper? I wanted nothing to do with her. And she really won me over and I'm really against her. So did you watch the video?
Yeah, I saw clips of so it seemed like it was not present there. Like this was something that happened years ago but actually came out now. Is that correct? Or am I wrong in saying that?
I'm not 100% sure. It was really hard to say in terms of timeline. But one thing that I think the media really got wrong is that they were saying that, it was her doing it, bringing guys back home when she was a stripper, and they were making it. And I think she even stood up for herself and saying it was when she was a stripper and she was in her time of need and whatever. Okay, first of all, I'm calling bullshit because strippers make money. You guys make money, and everybody's giving her a free pass saying she was in bad circumstances and she was trying to make herself out. If you listen to the beginning of the video, she starts it by saying, I would never let somebody cheat on me, and this is what I would do instead. And I would bring them back to the hotel room and I would drug them and I would make them have sex with a tranny and I would rob them, and then I would be like, haha, that's what you get. That was a tranny.
Wow.
I'm so confused on how those two things are correlated. That story of terrible revenge, to be completely honest, has nothing to do with being in bad circumstances and robbing men and being this Robin Hood of strippers where you're stealing from the rich so you can get by. Those are not the same things. And also it's just making you sound crazy. You sound like a crazy ex-girlfriend. And also, didn't Offset cheat on you? I just don't understand. So something is not adding up here. But I will say the only difference between what she has done and what Bill Cosby and R. Kelly have done is the fact that she's a woman and she admitted it.
Mm-hmm.
And Bill Cosby and R. Kelly would never admit it, and they still don't admit it. They've been proven to have been guilty and they still won't admit it, and they'll take it to their grave. And men literally would never have stopped. Whereas she obviously stopped this action. Not that gives her a free pass, but I will say that's the only difference between men and women. And that's because I just think as a whole, no men would ever have come forward to say that she's done that, because we don't believe victims. We don't believe particularly men victims. But you know what? I hope somebody does. I hope a man comes forward, and this is the perfect opportunity to do it because she's already admitted that she's done it. She admitted in the video, and then she admitted in the comments afterwards, oh, this is why I did it. So all a man really needs to do now is come forward and be like, yeah, she robbed me, she drugged me, she robbed me, She raped me, whatever it is, and she for real is going to be done. But as a whole, I'm really disappointed. I really don't think I can ever support her anymore. I think that this is just messed up, and I'm just I'm really disappointed in her, and I'm disappointed in myself for liking her, to be honest.
And I've seen that a lot of people who do support and have rocked with Cardi B in terms of famous people, celebrities, those on TV, those on radio, it seemed to be like giving her a free pass and to say that, this
Yeah.
is what she used to do in her past, but it's not what she does now. And that, oh, you don't know what it's like to be a stripper. It's tough to get by, this and that and the other. That I do get, but at the end of the day, it's still, you have to be a human being. And, blatantly drugging people
Right.
for profit to rob them or to get back at them for things that they've done, it's pretty foul. And it's crazy that, that clip came out here in 2019. I'm glad you mentioned it, because all it takes is one single person, for one single male who can even say or claim that they did this in the past, whether it's, within the statute of limitations. I don't know how long it's been. She could be in a lot of trouble for this. The same way years later, Bill Cosby went down, the same way R. Kelly's going down. I know people on my Facebook were saying, it's past the statute of limitations, nothing can happen. I'm sure there are ways. If Bill Cosby can go to prison right now, I think Cardi B can go to prison right now too. So I get both sides of it. End of the day, it's very fucked up.
Yeah.
I actually was shocked when I actually heard that was going on.
I was too.
And it obviously it made her seem like, at the end of the day, she was probably giving it up to these dudes too, or tricking them, and she would have to do that. But at the end of the day, she would still rob them as well. I was kind of at a loss for words. I was like, man, I can't really believe this came out. But obviously, she's a stripper. She went through some crazy things in the past, but that's pretty low. And the fact that it's admitted now, it's like, man, how do you really look at it? I think we need to find a way to get her clips to not come out, because as fast as she went up and is popular, it can easily come crashing down with more clips and scenarios like this. So she's definitely got to be careful.
Yeah. I don't know. I think she just really took a big step back for women, and definitely she took a big step back for sex workers, because I just feel like how many strippers are always trying to prove to the society that this is a real job and this, that, and the other. And then she just is like, oh yeah, by the way, this is what strippers do. And I don't think it's what all strippers do, but that's going to be the connotation of the conversation now.
That's the thing, is do a lot of strippers do this? I kind of want to hear from the stripper community. What is this? What goes on? I mean, what? Oh,
strippers, we want your feedback.
I don't even know if we have any that listen to Alternative Fact Chicago, but if they do, we want to know, because I feel like there's going to be more to this story, and I feel like this one's not over.
Yeah, definitely not.
I don't know. So
definitely
let us
not.
know your
But
thoughts.
I can tell you Cardi B is over. So
wait. So you think Cardi B is canceled?
I think Cardi B is canceled. She's canceled for me. That's all I can
okay.
of.
Okay.
I'm done. I'm done with Cardi B. I just can't support her after this.
I'd say, because I know people have short attention spans in this game we call life, especially in the social media age, to where people, they'll cry foul, be all pissed off one day. She drops a hot track. Everyone's over it. And obviously, a lot of the women community are rocking with Cardi B. It's like the story of success coming from nothing. So I feel like she's going to get a free pass if this happened to a male, I'm definitely calling double standard on this one. I feel like we have to.
Well, for the record, it has happened to multiple males before. Just because we're seeing a couple men get taken down for things like this doesn't mean that every man has been. I just want to put that out. The jails are not full of rapists, right? They're full of marijuana abusers. So I just want to point that out, that a lot of people get off with community service. But I see what you're saying.
Oh yeah, it definitely happens. I totally get it. But I'm talking about males on a bigger scale, celebrities. I feel like this would be a much, much bigger deal than it actually is right now. But hey, look, what do I know?
Yeah. What do you know? All right, we got to move on to some basketball news. I know you're very excited to talk about this. And
I know you're not.
March Madness and the Sweet 16 this weekend. So the whole world was freaking the F out that Duke almost lost in the second round to UCF of all teams. It came down to the very last second. Ultimately, Duke came out with a 77-76 win, and it was literally down the last seconds. If they had lost, it would have just annihilated 39% of the world's bracket. So shout out to Duke for pulling it out in the end. What are your thoughts about the game, and what do you think is going to happen? Who's making the Final Four?
Well, even more so about the game, I think the first weekend was pretty, true to form and what you expect. There wasn't a lot of upsets this first weekend for the NCAA tournament. Duke almost losing would have been great. Obviously, being down here in Tampa, there's a lot of people that are UCF fans or people that went to Central Florida. So just the simple fact that they were A, even in the game, B, almost won was nuts. I almost was rooting for him. It would have busted my bracket since I have Duke in the championship game, but not winning it. But it would have busted my bracket. But at that point, I'm not a huge Duke fan, so I thought it would have been amazing if they lost. So Duke will be fine. A lot of times teams like that need a scare in the tournament, so I think they will be okay. In regards to the first weekend overall, wasn't a lot of upsets, so I'm actually more excited for this weekend, Sweet 16 weekend, just for the simple fact that not all, but many of the heavy hitters are still playing. Duke's still playing. Michigan State still playing. Gonzaga's still in it. Michigan's in it. Texas Tech. We got Virginia, Tennessee, Purdue, North Carolina, Kentucky, Houston, Auburn. They're all still playing. So these next 2 days, Thursday and Friday, I have a lot of big games in it. My team, Michigan's still in it. They look great the first weekend. So this weekend, I am very excited. I feel like almost any of these 16 teams could go on and make it to the Final Four. So I'm excited. I want to hear your thoughts. And actually, I know you probably don't care, but in terms of who's going to make the Final Four, all 4 of my teams are still in it. I have Tennessee, Michigan, I have Duke, and I have North Carolina. If it happens, I'm winning some money. So I'll be hyped to watch this weekend.
Cool. I hope those teams win too, so you can win some money.
You do not have those teams. Well, so who did you actually make a bracket?
No, absolutely not.
I'm surprised that your work they don't do like a work office bracket.
We did last year and nobody did this year. I mean, I'll just be honest. Like, I don't ever like college basketball that much just because, I went to school in the South and nobody cares about it. I'm just being honest.
That's
and
crazy.
then it's just not the same down there. Like, nobody cares. And then obviously, like, moving up here, like, I've cared more and I've enjoyed watching March Madness in the past. But I'm way too busy this season to even pretend to keep up. So,
which I guess it makes sense. And being in the South, obviously, is more of a football country. Even in some cases, baseball, since you can play baseball year round in the South.
No. It's college football. It's eat, sleep, breathe, repeat college football. Like that's all they care. And high school football. That's all they care about.
Yeah, high school football is huge in the South.
It's freaking crazy. It's insane. But yeah, and I see like some teams that continually do fairly well, in the NCAA playoffs, like Tennessee, but
right.
Nobody cares. And then Duke, I guess, is like North Carolina is technically the South, but it's not really, like, not how Georgia is.
Kentucky always makes it pretty far. They're in the South.
Yeah, they do.
Virginia's in it. I don't know if you consider them really the South, but they're still in it.
I don't know. I think a map does, but I don't. Virginia's not the South. They're not.
Florida lost to Michigan. They almost made it, but of course Michigan had to take them out.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I know a lot of people are picking Texas Tech over Michigan this weekend. Beware picking against Michigan. Come tournament time, they play great, so that's going to be a dope game. But I'm hyped. I think it's going to be a good weekend. This weekend is always probably the best weekend. Then next weekend, the Final Four. So we'll definitely see what happens.
Cool. I'm going to give all your teams my good vibes, and then you win, and you buy me a drink with your earnings.
Deal.
All right,
you got a deal on that. Now, getting back to Chicago and this Jussie Smollett situation, boy, it seems to just be never ending. In a shocking turn of events, I'm sure you've all heard, he was randomly back in Chicago just yesterday, just out of nowhere. His next hearing wasn't even supposed to be until April 16th, but he showed up at court. People started posting, like, what the heck's he doing here? They were saying there was an emergency hearing, and somewhere out of nowhere, prosecutors have said that they have absolutely dropped all 16 felony charges. It's over. It's done. They are sealing the records. It's basically as if this never happened. Obviously, they were charging him of basically faking getting beat up if you've been living under a rock. Obviously, they're claiming that 2 of his friends beat him up outside of a subway, hung a noose around him, made it seem like it was a very racial type of thing. He got charged with them. Now it is dropped. What the hell happened here? Is there money involved? Did the city of Chicago give up? How the heck did the charges get dropped? And what do we do next from this?
Something happened. Like, obviously, we know Chicago is corrupt. We know Chicago PD is corrupt. We know, like, Rahm Emanuel, like, we know he's pretty corrupt. So something happened. Because, first of all, how has this ever happened where like a court case has gone through this fast. Like, you steal
Right.
something from Target and your court case is elongated more than this. Not to mention that this man was charged with 16 felony counts. Like, I just don't understand the timeline. So something had to have been slipped through. I mean, you can't even pay a parking ticket as fast as this was sealed.
Right.
So as somebody was paid off. His people paid somebody to sweep this under the rug to get Chicago PD. Something didn't happen. And I've seen, different things, different conspiracy theories or whatever you want to call them, of, they're basically saying like Chicago PD didn't have enough money. Didn't have enough evidence to go to court. And so they knew they were going to lose, or they knew that they were going to offer him some kind of bailout where he wasn't going to serve time anyway. And that's kind of what everybody's thinking. But at the end of the day, the lawyer said that this is a punishment that a quote normal person would receive. And I just am calling utter bullcrap. Like, nobody is even going to be like considered having committed 16 felony counts and get off on customers and get off on community service. Like, I can't even fathom, like, I can't even speak about it. I'm so in awe of what happened. Like, a normal person, this is not anything that a normal person would have been sentenced with,
especially this fast. Like, it was a couple weeks ago, and now the charges have already been dropped for felony charges. Like, it's not just misdemeanors or parking tickets that get dropped. This is
right.
16 felony counts. What I've been hearing, and I can't prove this.
Yeah, and Chicago doesn't drop parking tickets. By the way. I learned that the hard way when I moved here. So thank you for mentioning that.
Absolutely. What I've been hearing is that Jesse Smollett has family members or someone with some strings to pull to help get these jobs. When you got money, when you're famous, when you're on TV, that's just what you got to realize. We're at the point in life and in the social media age where money might get you out of almost anything. And at the end of the day, I know it's messed up of what he did, but did we really want to put this guy in prison for fake getting beat up? Like, was it ever really going to come down to that? Like, I know everyone's in an uproar and like, how could they really do this? And, he faked a beating, so he should be, thrown under the jail. Like, what's been going on in Chicago? We have a lot more to worry about in the city of Chicago than someone faking a beating. So I get it. What he did was wrong. They definitely just went there, pulled some strings. They might have paid off CPD. I don't know what might have happened. They had to. But
they had to.
I don't think that it was worth him actually going and actually doing some jail time for it. Yes, you can go through the embarrassment, say he's sorry. No, he messed up. But no, he doesn't
But
need to be
But he didn't say he's sorry. If you watch the interview today, he still is just saying he's not guilty. He's like, my mom did not raise a person that would have done this. Like, he's still saying he's innocent. He's not sorry.
Well, now that the charges have been dropped, now it's really no point for him to be sorry. Like, now he can really run with this story and say, I was framed. It actually happened. Screw you. And Rahm Emanuel, which I will talk about here for Clown of the Week, he had a press conference. It was the optics with the Chicago Police Department behind him, basically saying, Jesse Smollett should essentially be held accountable, and there is no accountability. And he was coming down at him for, basically putting down the police and everyone involved. And they were basically trying to say that he absolutely knows what he did, and now he's getting off of it. He's just not holding himself accountable. So he got off of it. He really doesn't have to, unfortunately. But they were also saying that, if these charges were to go on, there was ways and loopholes to where Jesse could almost sue the city of Chicago and the Chicago Police Department. So that was also a fight that they did not want to battle with. So I'm sure there was a lot of meetings going on. Well, may or may not ever know the truth. But, man, that is a hell of a story. I did not expect that twist and turn of events. But at the end of the day, he didn't need to go to jail for that.
And I just think it's funny that he would have sued, because it's not like Chicago PD didn't pay out what we say last week, like $1.3 million in payouts this past year. So, I mean, really, what would have been another $1 million if he had sued? But I think the bigger picture that people are missing is not that he faked a beat up, it's that he faked a hate crime. And we're in this this tension, this racial tension right now with Trump as president, where people are just constantly being baited against other races, and we're continually dealing with this every day. And he faked a hate crime. I don't care if he faked a beat up, whatever. I don't care if those guys really did beat him up. He faked a hate crime. And that's my biggest issue with this. And that's what I feel like people are overlooking. Like, it's whatever. They didn't get him on felony counts, and he's not serving any time, but it's fucked up. And that's all it is.
Whoa.
It
Hate
is.
coming in hot today.
It is, though. He faked a hate crime.
I get that. And
I mean, if somebody had really been crazy enough to just tackle some random black dude on the street in Streeterville and put a noose around him, Chicago would have been in an uproar. And he faked it. I mean, that's terrible.
Yeah, he messed up. I get that. Are we going to throw him under the jail for it? I don't think it was worth the time and money for the city to do it. It's still fishy that they dropped the charges that quickly. So definitely something happened, but people will be over in a couple months, and we're going to move on. Chicago has way more stuff to worry about, which we're going to talk about soon, and everything Chicago. But that's just kind of how I see it.
Feel ya. I don't really agree. Put him in jail.
We'll have to agree to disagree on that one.
I guess we will.
Deal.
All right. So we should definitely move on to our Everything Chicago segment, since we're already talking about the city of Chicago, get a little deeper. But definitely want to debut that our Everything Chicago segment is brought to you this week by our friends at Showtime and the critically acclaimed series, The Chi. I don't know if you've watched this show. If you haven't caught up, it's season 2 is coming out, so now is the time. The heart and soul of Chicago's South Side lies in its community, but when your world is in a daily struggle just to get by, can you rise up and stand tall to realize a better tomorrow? Check out The Chi. Watch as Ronnie, Brandon, Emmett, and Kevin confront tough choices that will shape their futures. It's created and executive produced by Emmy winner Lena Waithe and Academy Award winner Common. Amazing show. And for them sponsoring Everything Chicago segment, we have a free trial of Showtime for you, so you can catch up on the last season, get ready for the next one, and you can check it out at showtime.com/alternativefactschicago.
Huge sponsor for us.
Yeah.
Proud to have Showtime as a sponsor for The Chi. I watched the entire first season. It's an amazing show. I'll definitely be tuned in. I'll definitely be watching. So we'll definitely be kicking out that link. If you do not have Showtime, obviously it's a free trial for you. The show is great. It's very intuitive. It's a nice, solid depiction of the city of Chicago, of the South Side. Obviously, it's a TV show, so it's going to be loosely related or, obviously expanded for a TV show. But I think season 1 was great. I am hoping that season 2 is just as good. But shout out to Showtime for giving us the opportunity. I heard we are the only podcast in Chicago that is a sponsor for The Chi, for the show. So very proud of that. So shout out to them for giving us the opportunity, and make sure you tune in to The Chi coming up very, very soon. What I think is April the 7th.
Yeah, Sundays, 10 p.m. on Showtime. And I'm sorry, I said the code wrong. It's showtime.com with the promo code as alternative.
Nice.
Yeah, so get your free subscription, get caught up, check out the new season.
We'll be posting on our Twitter, Facebook, all over our social media. We'll be sending out links personally as well. So we definitely want all of you to sign up if you are not already subscribed to Showtime.
For sure. Okay, so talking about Chicago, we have to talk about R. Kelly. If you haven't, I saw too something like just dropped today, like he got harassed at Trump Tower by the police or whatever, but we're not going to talk about that. What we're going to talk about is that he has been pushing, his lawyer has been pressing the court to lift his travel ban since he is out on jail awaiting trial, because for some people it takes longer than 10 days. And so he's been pushing for the travel ban to be lifted because he has, quote, several shows booked in Dubai and he wants to fulfill his contract. Well, now authorities in Dubai have come back and said that R. Kelly was never booked for shows in United Arab Emirates, nor are they planning to book him for any shows, nor that they received any requests from anybody to bring R. Kelly over there to perform. So do you think he was going to use this as a ploy to just like escape and never come back to America?
Absolutely, 100%. He got busted. He got caught. He was trying to leave the country. Like, if anyone has a brain or a pulse, they are not booking R. Kelly anywhere around the world right now. And I get it. He doesn't have an income. They cut off his music. They cut off ways for him to make money. So I totally understand that. But at the end of the day, you tried to fake a show, and I am glad that it got busted. Like, bro, you just got to sit down, take this one on the chin. You've made it for so many years getting by with what you've done. I think you just got to chill out. And I feel like he's been out in Chicago. I saw some clip of him, like, singing happy birthday to someone. So he's trying to act like all is good. We know deep down he's going through it. And no, he's not going to Dubai, homie.
Yeah, I just think it's really funny. Like, Dubai of all places. And like, Dubai is one of the most expensive countries in the world. So if you don't have money to be in Chicago, how do you have money to be in Dubai? I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know what you're going to do there, but I just thought that was hilarious.
Not happening. Switching gears. So this is an interesting story that we found. So there's a brand new Piva beer spa in Chicago where you can actually soak in a tub of warm beer, which is supposed to be good for the skin and soothing for the body. So Fox 8 Chicago had an article up. You can find it to where beer spas have been hugely popular overseas, but now they're bringing the very, very first one to Chicago on the northwest side. Basically, it's like thermal soak, so the water is about 98 degrees, and there's about 20% beer in there. The beer spa is something that I guess the owner and their dad had did together, so they are opening it and creating it here in Chicago. I guess it's brought with like a warm and colorful salt cave as well, so promises healing capabilities for asthma, allergies, yoga classes that take place inside the cave. So definitely a unique experience. I've never heard of this existed. I don't know exactly where this is on the northwest side of Chicago, but just opened. The co-owner, her name is Dino Saranchik. Check it out if you have. Are you going to check it out or what? But this is definitely a unique thing.
I personally like to drink my beer. I think it gives me better health benefits when it soothes my anxiety and I drink it rather than soak in it. So I don't know if this will be a go for me personally, but I definitely thought it was interesting. And I just like, what health benefits, I don't really understand, could like beer bring you from like your skin? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to go.
I think I need to see a scientific report to back this one up. I don't know.
110%. I'm going to go with the pass. It's good to report on. If anyone ever goes and tries this in Chicago, let us know. But
send us pictures. What kind of beer do you think they use too? Like there's like all these craft beers in Chicago. Like we're known for breweries and stuff, but like you're not going to waste that to soak in. So like, are you soaking in like Miller Lite? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, better to not be like Bud Light or something easy like that. That's water anyway.
Yeah, Bush. Here's your tub of Bush. Enjoy.
Right.
All right, moving on to some other Chicago news. So Chicago is Gotham City. The brand new Batwoman series on the CW has shot its pilot mostly in Vancouver, but the backdrop for Gotham City was in Chicago. They finished filming earlier this week. What do you think of Chicago as Gotham City? Do you think New York would have been better? Do you think that was a good choice?
I guess if you want to switch it up, I mean, Gotham City for Batman was always New York.
Right.
So I guess you could switch it up and do something different with it being Chicago. Obviously, Chicago has a lot of big buildings at nighttime. I guess the skyline can be smoky at night. I'm just throwing random stuff in the air. I have absolutely no idea. So maybe, and the only reason would be because of the big buildings. Outside of that, right. I mean, Gotham City shouldn't always be New York. So they got me a little confused on that one.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I've never been to New York personally, but from what I've seen in the Batman movies, I would think it would be like a darker place and like a backdrop for Gotham City. But either way, I'm excited. I'm glad that they shot it here. Ruby Rose from Orange is the New Black is playing Batwoman. I think that she is pretty badass, and I'm excited to watch the show.
Definitely. And we've talked a lot about Chicago today so far in this episode. So before we get off, a little positive Chicago news. So 32 Chicago schools have been chosen to get $32 million for academic programs. So saw this article on WGNTV.com that the Chicago Tribune reports that the payouts over 6 years will be used to expand programs in science, technology, engineering, math, fine arts, and language, and as well to boost college credit scores. So Mayor Rahm Emanuel and CPS Chief Education Officer Latanya McDade announced last week which schools will receive the money. Over 100 schools vie for the funds, but obviously 32 were chosen. This is going to obviously help keep kids enrolled in school if possible. Obviously, keep kids going to class when there's reason for them to, and ways to help with education. Obviously, that's been a huge issue for Chicago. So, hey, we've been in a lot of debt. So whatever they can find $32 million for Chicago public schools. That is amazing. So that is great news. And hopefully it works. The city of Chicago needs it.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember a few months ago, we talked about how Chicago public schools were graduating the least amount of seniors in record history. And it wasn't because they're not graduating, it's because everybody's going to charter schools. So the Chicago Public Schools District has gotten a bad rap for years and years and years about the level of education. Hopefully this money can help put them over the edge. And personally, I love that they're putting the money into like science and tech, things like engineering, because I mean, as a woman who works in tech, I can tell you that women are underrepresented as well as minorities. So I think that's a great way to put money there and kind of open up the doors for kids in Chicago to study trades and engineerings and things that they can do and learn at an earlier age. So I love it. I'm all for this.
Agreed.
Find all the money to give them for education, because that's where it needs to go.
If anything, yes, the kids need the money. They need the education. It's only going to help better our future. So kudos to the city for doing that. That's a good way to start 2019 for the city of Chicago Public Schools.
For sure.
Now getting into quick hits. Major League Baseball opening day is this Thursday. For those who love baseball, it's a great monumental day. I wish I was in Detroit. Always Detroit opening day is a big, big day. So Tampa down here, I know they're playing. They got Houston tomorrow, and I haven't heard any word of it, in which I know no one cares about baseball in Tampa. The crazy part about that is the stadium is in St. Pete, not actually in Tampa. They're actually building a brand new stadium in Tampa here soon. So haven't heard much chatter about it. But anyway, who do you think, we're going to make our predictions right here now, who do you think for the upcoming season is going to win the World Series?
I'm going Boston Red Sox. Obviously, going back-to-back is like one of the hardest things to do in sports. Yep. But I just think that they won 108 regular season games last year. They were on fire. Of course, won the World Series. And most of the teams coming back for 2019, I just feel like the experience coming off a hot win, keeping the same crew around, I just feel like they're going to be unstoppable. I'm going Red Sox.
I'm going New York Yankees. The Red Sox are not a bad choice. The Yankees have not won a World Series in quite some time. Had a great season last season. Obviously didn't win it all. The Red Sox, it is so tough to go back-to-back. And I'm not even sure the last time that it happened in Major League Baseball. There's just so many factors. The season's so long. You can definitely be great again, but a lot of teams kind of take a step back. They really don't have that same mojo from year to year. Happens to the Chicago Cubs, Kansas City Royals recently. I mean, it happens to a lot of teams. You think you're going to come back and just do it again. I don't really know. And the Yankees, I feel like they're going to have that motivation. We're seeing the Red Sox win, and the New York Yankees, don't quote me this, I feel like they haven't won a World Series in quite some time. I mean, I think it's been within 10 years, but just for, all the players that they have, how much winning that they do as an organization, I feel like it's time. So you're going Red Sox, I'm going Yankees, and we'll be watching that. But I'm excited. I think it's going to be a great Major League season.
Yeah, me too. Always excited for baseball, especially living right by Wrigley.
Facts.
All right, so moving on to some movie news. Jordan Peele obviously just released the movie Us. He's most famous for his movie Get Out, and he said in a recent interview that he cannot ever see himself casting a white person as the lead for the movie. What do you think of this? For a movie, sorry. What do you think of this? Is it out of pocket? Is it out of left field? What are your thoughts?
I don't think it's out of pocket at all. I mean, if it's his movie, honestly, he can do whatever the heck he wants. I mean, there have been a ton, and it always will be a ton of white actors as lead roles, and that's okay. So if he wants to come in and make sure those in minority get their shine, obviously Us is the number one movie. If he wants to continue to give, a black actor or Mexican actor, whoever, a minority actor that shine and give them their moment, by all means, let him do it. And he should not feel any way, shape, or form bad about it. I mean, it's his platform. It's his thoughts, his ideas. And if he doesn't feel that way of having, a white actor or actress star in a movie, doesn't have that vision for him, kudos to him. Rather be honest, you're still going to always be successful. It's not saying he's not going to have any white actors in his movie at all.
Right.
He just may not have them in a lead role. And you know what? That's okay. Shout out to Jordan Peele for saying that.
Right, absolutely. I mean, I think at the end of the day, like, nobody nobody gets mad at, Taylor Swift for not having a black actor in her music videos. Like, he's making movies about, but it's true. Like, artists do things about what they know. You create content based on what you know. And he said from the beginning that he wants to highlight, African Americans in his movies as main roles because they don't get them very often. But he's only writing stories based on his own experiences. And I feel like it's probably fairly natural that a white person isn't going to have a lead in any of the movies that he puts out. Could a white person have really been the lead in Get Out? The story wouldn't have been the same. So anyway, I don't care either way. Good for him for being vocal about it, though, because we do need to see more minorities in movies. Like, I was really, really happy to see that Aladdin actually didn't just, cast a bunch of white people and they went the other way. So I think this is a discussion we need to be having. We need to be seeing more of.
100%, I agree. Switching it up to little music, one of my favorite rappers, Big Sean, he's been very quiet in all of 2018. His last album was out in early 2017, and since then he toured and it kind of fell off the face of the earth for the past year, and no one kind of really knew why. So in an Instagram video came out just a couple of days ago, and I'm glad that it did. It was very eye-opening of where he's been going through, but he admitted that in 2018 he went through a lot of anxiety and depression and essentially took a back seat from the rap game because he felt like things weren't right, and he wanted to kind of get himself back together, like even to the point where his relationship with his mother wasn't the same, so he had to work on that. He ended a relationship. Obviously, I cannot think brain farter who his ex-girlfriend was. That didn't work out, so now he's back. He said,
the girl from Glee?
No,
Sorry.
No, not even the girl from Glee, and not
his
Ariana
most
Grande.
recent ex-girlfriend?
Yes.
My bad.
I can't think of it. She's a singer, and I don't know why it's going to bother me now that I can't remember. But he said he's back. He's healthy. He's making the best music of his career, so I'm excited about it. But speaking of that, like, we've heard a lot lately about anxiety and depression. Like, what's going on with that? Why is it more popular than ever as a conversation in 2019?
I definitely just feel like this has been something that's been happening and just been overlooked for years and years and years. I think that with the level of celebrity that we're at, it's just really hard for people to be as famous as they are nowadays with social media, with the web, with the paparazzi. It's hard to be that famous and not experience some level of anxiety. And we're also, starting to become more accustomed to the fact that people can, experience it and not feel shamed about it. We can talk about it. So I think it's more normal now because we've just made it more normal and opened up the dialogues, and lots of famous people have, made the efforts towards that where we just didn't feel comfortable to talk about it before. Particularly, guys, like, I know I say things like that a lot, but I don't think guys have ever really been, confident enough in their mental health to talk about it, because guys are supposed to be macho and guys are supposed to be that. But, he's so conscious in his rapping. Like, you can tell he's probably always in his head about things. And so kudos to him for being able to open up.
Yeah, and I think it's become more of a conversation because with the social media age, it's been more of a topic in general. I'm glad you mentioned it. People just didn't talk about it, but everyone always goes through depression. We've seen a lot of, suicides happen, which it sucks. It's unfortunate. And I think the fact that people are just now talking about it, if people talk about it, if they help save one life, I think that it's a great thing. And I saw people make stupid comments under the post saying, you have so much money. Why do people with money get depressed? Like, you have no idea what depression is. Because you have money, and it's an old cliche, money does not buy happiness. Right. You can have all the money in the world and still go through things. You can be so famous and still go through things. So it's just an evolution of life. I feel everyone at some point in their life is going to go through a depressive state or depression state, whether you want to admit it or not. Like, everything's not going to always be peaches and cream. So kudos to Big Sean for going through it and, for talking about it and getting above it. And I bet he's going to drop a great album in 2019.
Yep. Can't wait to listen. He's one of my faves.
Yes.
All right, so moving on to some football. As you know, Rob Gronkowski has officially retired from the NFL. A lot of people are sad. A lot of Patriots fans. A lot of people saw it coming. It was pretty obvious. We knew it was going to happen sooner or later. Do you think he's the greatest tight end of all time?
I'm going to go with yes. This off like the glitz and glare of who Rob Gronkowski is. Like, he's crazy. He's nuts. He parties. But at the end of the day, he's just a badass football player. Won a lot of Super Bowls, and just seemed like a genuine all-around good guy. He got to go out on his own terms. He wasn't forced out of the NFL. He's still a young guy. I'm not even sure if he's even 30 yet, and if he is, he's barely 30. So, He's rich. He's got a lot of money. He'll always be on TV. He can do wrestling. He can do movies. He can do commercials. He's going to be fine. Kudos to him. I know people are saying like Tony Gonzalez or like a Sterling Sharp or Sterling or Shannon Sharp. I forgot which tight end is, or it might be the greatest tight end of all time.
Yeah,
I'm
Sterling
going.
Sharp.
Yep, I'm going Rob Gronkowski. Dope guy, and I'm being biased since he's a Patriot guy, but I'm going
Right.
Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah, he's good. He's a good contender. I mean, I think he's probably tied with Tony Gonzalez, to be
Yep.
honest. Yeah, Tony Gonzalez, played for the Falcons 2009, 2013. So just like, you are hyped for the Patriots, like anybody who lived in Georgia around that time is going to be on the Tony Gonzalez bandwagon. And of course, he played for the Chiefs for 10 years before that. So in terms of numbers, he's probably pretty close to tied with Gronkowski. I don't think he ever really had as many like formidable matchups as the Patriots have in the last few years, but I mean, 17 seasons, he missed 2 games. He got 14 Pro Bowl selections. He was a solid player, and even into his late 30s. So if Gonzalez is not the best, he's definitely tied with Gronkowski. So
Agreed. Next, this is an interesting story that we'll mention. So Gwyneth Paltrow's daughter, Apple, calls her out about posting a picture of her on her Instagram saying that she didn't approve of it, commenting, "Mom, we have discussed this. You may not post anything without my consent." Do you have to approve all pics of you on social? Do you have to approve all pics of you on social media? And do parents get a free pass? What the hell is going on?
listen, I'm so glad my parents are not into social media because they've never been the ones to post like random pictures. Like I see people posting pictures of their kids like naked in the bathtub. I'm like, come on. Like social media doesn't go away. That's so freaking rude. Like I really have a
Right.
problem with that. However, like in this instance, the picture that Gwyneth Paltrow posted, they were like on a ski lift. Apple had the goggles on. Like you couldn't even really tell like who it was or whatever. I find that ridiculous. I think this is kind of coming from the background of like her mom's famous and she's probably also always being recognized for that. And also they gave her the name Apple, which doesn't help. And so I feel like this is probably where it came from. But I have a problem with the comment that she left. Like you can't post anything without my consent. Like I feel like consent is a pretty serious word to be throwing around, like in this case, like because you
Right.
didn't like a picture on Instagram. I think that parents should not have free passes because they'll be posting some crazy stuff, and that's just, rude. They don't understand the internet the way younger generations do. And then personally, like, yes, I have to give approval of all pictures of me on social.
I agree.
Yes, all pictures, everyone.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah.
My parents aren't on social media either. I'm sure if my mom was, she would be always up my ass about stuff that I post. I don't even post anything crazy, but she'd always just tell me to watch what I post. But this is crazy. No, you don't need consents. Like, what are we doing here? I think that's just way out of line. But obviously, they're celebrities. Like, they have totally different lives. So whatever works for them. But no, that in my world, do what you want as long as it's PC enough.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you. Okay, so moving on to a pretty funny story you didn't hear. Regina Hall accidentally got too high with her mom and had to go to the hospital. This is a hilarious story. So she appeared on one of those late night shows recently and told the story about how she had some medical marijuana. And I think she said it was for her dog, which I don't really understand how that happened. I'll have to look more into that. But basically it was like leftover, not being used anymore. Her and her mom decided to get high and she went into some, what did they call it? Some medical thing where basically you get too high and you get sick. And so she had to go to the hospital and recover from it. But it's just so funny because she was with her mom and they got like way too stoned. So have you ever, would you ever, did you ever do drugs with your parents?
A, B, C, no. My mom would absolutely kick my ass. She's just not from that world. Like she'll definitely drink with my mom, have all the time. My dad doesn't drink at all. I don't know, like, what the hell was he doing his whole life? I feel like my dad used to drink in the past, but doesn't now, and I don't know it. So I'm like, how the hell do you not drink? But another story for another day. But my mom, I would drink with her, but no, she will not do any drugs with me. That is absolutely not happening. And honestly, I'm not even sure if I want to. I feel like that would cross the bridge that I don't even know if I ever want to. Like, you look at your mom and dad on like a certain pedestal. I don't know if it's like a black family thing, but I know white families, they do drugs with their kids all the time. In some places that I know, we won't name names, but in my world, it just doesn't happen, and I'm okay with it not ever happening. What about you?
So my parents also like never really drank growing up, like ever. I don't think I ever saw them drunk. To be honest, they just did that in their younger days. But now that my brother has moved to Colorado and he's all into weed and all the different strains and all the different things that it does, my dad was that 70s Cheech and Chong stoner and was like talking to my brother when they came up and visited for the Bears game in October, talking to my
Right.
brother about smoking and this, that, and the other. And so my brother brought some edibles and we all did them. My dad's gonna be so embarrassed. We all did them and went to a comedy show over by Wrigley. And I will tell you that like my dad got too stoned.
Wow.
And it was hilarious. I got a little too stoned too because I did a little too much. But my poor brother, he had to deal with my dad, and my dad was so stoned. But it was honestly like freaking fun. I wish he hadn't gotten that high because he'll never do it again now, like with us. And I don't even smoke, so. But man, it was fun. It was
That's
super
great.
fun to see him like that.
That would have been hilarious to see that. You should have taken some video of it.
Yeah, well, it would have been embarrassing. He wouldn't have liked that. He's listening right now, yelling at
Oh,
his
of course.
Spotify, like, what the hell? But man,
He
it was
always
fun.
does.
It was, yeah, he always, yeah. I don't know why he's not embarrassed of me by now, the stories I tell of him, but it was super fun. I definitely drink with my dad and watch Bears games or Cubs games, and that's always a blast. So, maybe one time again, we'll talk a little or something.
Absolutely. And before we get off of quick hits, no, it wasn't on here. We didn't get a chance because lineup came out. We did the podcast a day early last week. And, of course, the very next morning, Lollapalooza lineup came out here in Chicago. Didn't get a chance to talk about it. You probably don't have the list up right now, but my personal thoughts, I think this lineup's way, way better than 2018. I was a little disappointed with the 2018 lineup, but having Childish Gambino there, not a big Chainsmokers fan, but cool, they're there. Lil Wayne, Meek Mill. I think it's just a dope lineup overall, so we don't have to really get into it. We can talk about it more as we get closer to Lollapalooza, but I want to say shout out to them for making a good lineup. It's much better than the Woodstock lineup that I saw come out, or even Coachella of this year. So I'm a fan. I may have to be there for that once again this year. Lolla's always a fun weekend in the city of Chicago.
Cool. I've never been. I don't have it pulled up. I don't even know who's going to be there.
Yeah, you should go. I think you would like it. There's the good thing about those festivals. There's something for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
Cool.
Let us know your thoughts.
Cool. Okay, should we do Clown of the Week?
Yep, let's get to it.
Okay, great. So my Clown of the Week is going to the entire state of Florida. If you missed it in this past week, somebody rolled out the Florida Man Challenge. So what the Florida Man Challenge is you go into Google and you type Florida Man and then you type your birthday and it will pull up 100% guaranteed will pull up a ridiculous news story about something dumb a Florida man did in Florida and got arrested for. And, I used to do radio in South Georgia. I was in the South Georgia North Florida market. And so we dealt with this all the time where, when I was on the radio, our Clown of the Week segment, I called it Daily Dummy, where I would talk about something that somebody did that was dumb. And it was always somebody from Florida. And I used to always say that on air. And I used to get hate calls like, not everybody from Florida's dumb. You can't say that. Well, there you go, Florida. You've proved me right. And literally there's a million men out there, one for every single day of the year, that has done something stupid to be called out in the Florida Man Challenge. So that's it. That's all there is to it.
That was impressive. I posted about it on Facebook and I got a lot of responses. That was a funny day. Yeah. The fact that you could put almost any day of the week of the year and you can find something, that's hilarious. And they always say that the craziest people on earth are from the Bronx and all of Florida. So
exactly. Some people were posting screenshots that there was like 7 or 8 reports of ridiculous arrests on their birthday. I mean, come on. That's crazy. Get it together,
something in
Florida.
The water, something with the heat, melting people's brains.
Too much water
here.
is what it is.
I'm not sure. Too much water.
Anyway, that's my Clown of the Week. What's yours?
Good one. We talked about Chicago a lot. I got to give mine to outgoing mayor Rahm Emanuel. He's done a lot in the past few years. He's on his way out. He's trying to do some good things for the city of Chicago on his way out. Too little, too late. But got to talk about his press conference here briefly. And for the simple fact that he went on this press conference about Jussie Smollett. Why he's doing a press conference about Jussie Smollett is beyond me. Just the optics. He had like his entire, Chicago police chief and Chicago police team behind him. The optics look terrible. doing a press conference about Jussie Smollett and basically coming down on him for not holding himself accountable and essentially, talking crap about the police and this and that and the other. Above all that, who cares? The charges were dropped. Why are you doing a press conference? Two, the city of Chicago police have done so many things. It's been such a corrupt city over the past 8 to 10 years. With you as the mayor of Chicago, you have not once come out and tried to ask to hold any of these police chiefs accountable or anytime, the Kwame McDonald's of the world and all these shootings, you never come out and ask, why are these people not held accountable and done a press conference about that? A lot of times in these cases, you have defended him. So in this case, you're coming out about Jussie, saying why you're not holding yourself accountable for this. The optics were terrible. Honestly, it was not needed. You have so much else going on in the city of Chicago to be worried about that. So that was kind of a cringe-worthy moment for me. And for that, sir, you unfortunately do have to get the Clown of the Week. Did you see that interview or did you get a chance to watch it?
No, I haven't, but I'm definitely going to go watch it now.
Oh yeah.
But I just moved here, so I don't have the emotional ties to hating Rahm Emanuel like a lot of people do. So,
I feel you. I used to like him, over the years. I thought he was great, and then over the years, it just kind of went down, even to the points where he's just not going to rerun. So I feel like he's had enough negative backlash, so he's probably realized, I'm just going to go do something else.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely do think it's funny that he is telling anybody to hold themselves accountable when he has pretty much been the catalyst for how deep in debt the city of Chicago is. But that's pretty much all I can comment on. Great
idea. But This is an awesome episode. Loved it. Very funny, very informative. A lot that we discussed. Shout out to Showtime as well and The Shy. Make sure you watch it, premiering April 7th. So shout out to them for being a sponsor for Alternative Facts Chicago. What else you got before we get up out of here?
Just a reminder to catch up on The Shy and grab that free month of Showtime so you can check it out. It's at showtime.com and use the promo code alternative. Please go check that out. And then, follow us on social, Facebook and Instagram, Alternative Facts Chicago, and on Twitter at AFacts Chicago to join in the conversation. Let us know your thoughts on all the topics we talked about today because it was a lot. And we want to hear what you think.
Yep. So we are out of here. This has been episode 83. This is B. Hun.
And Kate.
And we are out. We'll
That's like an awkward pause now. You're making it awkward. We're gonna have to get something else.
You said that's what you wanted to do, so hey. That's what we're doing.
Just awkwardly wait. We'll have to work it out.
All right, we are out of here.
Bye.
Peace.